if you ever want to know how to save yourself a bunch of money, recovering a bench seat, bucket seats, whatever it is, well, what you do is you get you some pieces, and you get some more pieces, and you cut out what you need, and you piece together what you need on the cheap. It'll save you a ton of money. Once we get done with this, you'll know how to do this yourself. You can do this at home for pennies on the dollar. Okay? The only expense you're going to really have is the seat cover, because that's the one thing I don't sew. So we're going to save a ton of money by not buying frames, not buying cushions. We're going to redo bits and pieces of old cushions, glue them together, and make them look great, and make them functional, and save a bunch of money doing it. So let me show you how.
With this is the bottom seat. We're going to need to clean this all up, give it a coat of paint. We got our springs, we got our adjusters. We got a nice set of springs. They're ugly, but ain't nothing that won't clean up. But nothing's broken. Everything's intact, so we ain't got no issues. This is driver's side, this is passenger side. We'll wire wheel all this, clean up, give it a coat of paint, make sure that the adjusters are moving nice and good. And this is kind of how they work. Like I said, this is driver's side. So you hit your button, and you see the mechanism here. You hit your button, and it makes a gap, and then it will move, and you can adjust it, and then it brings it back, and it locks it in place just like that, and then it won't adjust. Need a spring here. I have it in a bag. I need a spring here to here to help bring it in, but this is the same thing. But this one right here, that connects right here to right here. See the hole? That is when you pull it on that side, it pulls it on this side like this. See? Same thing. Makes your gap. So, and then you can adjust. So we're going to take both of them off real quick. Take the wire wheel to this, clean this all real up real good, and make sure there's nothing else broke. And make sure that they're oiled up good. And then we got the back one that's back there. And we're going to make this work. This is my first one of these, doing one of these. I've done bucket seats, but I've never done a bench seat for a Chevy. So we got the kit right here. It's in the bag, comes with the pliers and everything on it. And we went medium gray to go with all the black interior in this thing. So I think it's going to turn out really good. Okay, you're going to end up with the 2 tracks, some hardware, and a bunch of these little things. All right, I'd say just cut them off. You can use the cutoff wheel or dikes. I just used a needle nose pliers, got a hold of them, just basically just pried them off. But all this needs to be cleaned up so we get some paint on to get it protected for the next 50 years. So here we go. Okay, look what I found. Look what I found. Broken. All right, but this is a pretty easy fix. These are pretty robust. These are nice and thick. It's, 1/8 of an inch thick. So what we're going to do is I already got it cleaned up. I'm going to tack it on this side, flip it over, tack it on the side, and then that'll be fixed. But this is the only broke one in all of them. They're all good. And it's a tag. I don't know what it's for, but it does have like a service number or something on it. I don't know. And you guys can tell me what that's for. It was dead center. Ain't holding nothing together. Okay, like I said, it's a pretty big piece of sprung steel. So it took about 3 tacks to get it back in place. And then I got a piece of I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to put this wire wrap on it. I don't know if it's going to do any good, but it'll make me feel better. And so there's the finished product. I know that shrink wrap probably ain't going to do much, but it'll make me sleep better at night. But all I know is that thing is there. She's welded. She's ready to spring, and we are ready to shoot some paint.
Okay, seats cleaned and painted and dried. Seat tracks and hardware cleaned and painted and dried. Okay, this is what we're doing. I've got a good end for the passenger side, and this was the end for the driver's side. Okay, so I basically cut this piece off of that piece. All right, just like that, right? So I had this good piece of a cushion in the center, right? Not a bunch of stuff, of a real nice solid pad. So what we're going to basically do is we're going to glue this together, these two pieces, this piece and this piece, or this piece and this piece, and then we're going to use this as a template for the size. We're going to shape it and move around, because on the bottom sides is a very specific how it's done, and it wouldn't have done me any good to put the new seat cover on this. 54 inches. So as long as I keep the first cut and make the back side of this look exactly like this, then we should be good. I just got to shape it, cut it, make it fit. But that's what we're going to do. So first things first is we're going to take these two pieces and we're going to glue them together, make them one piece. All right. So that's pretty close. That's close enough. But we'll get this nice and close, and this should tuck in really nice. It's just a matter of playing with it while the glue's on it. And what we're going to use, I got two choices. Okay. This is brand new Gorilla Contact Adhesive. This is some 3M that I've had on the shelf for a long time. I used it. I know it works great. 3M, but I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't stick good, we'll recut it and we'll use the 3M. But I'm pretty sure this is pretty old. I mean, this is 15, 20 years old. So it still shakes in the can, still there, but I thought, why not? Everybody wants Gorilla everything, so we'll try Gorilla Glue. We'll see which one works. All right, first thing we got to do is we got to get some glue on, and they're pretty tight, so it's just a matter of spraying it. All right, here's the thing. 3M, and they spray differently. The 3M sprays basically just a spot, and the Gorilla sprays a fan. So I think just for prudence sake, I think we're going to do a little bit of both. Okay, so we're going to spray this on here real good because she seems to still be okay. So we're gonna super glue literally these pieces together. Okay, there's one side, and then we'll take the fan. Yep, see, it just shot everywhere. All right, so we're gonna do this with the Gorilla. I don't really care if it gets on the outside. Okay, so there's one side. All right, then we'll take this side and we'll do the same thing. I don't know if you can see. All right, we're gonna we're gonna make swirls and get this covered with the 3M. And I want to especially get up here towards the top edge because that's the most important part. Okay, there's the 3M. And now here's how the Gorilla goes on. It really just fans on. And you can really put the squish to it. You can get it up close. All right. Glued, glued, glued. Okay. So now, whoo, that smells. All right, we're going to take both these pieces. And we're going to get them exactly where we want them to begin with. We're going to get them on there. Line the lines up. You got a little bit of time. All right. Now, that should be, it's already sticking. All right. Okay, so this is the front and this is the back. So you know the back piece is going to be covering up, so it doesn't have to be super, super perfect. But look, it's already... Once you stick them, you better have it exactly where you want them once you stick it. Now, I'm also looking, yep, she's straight as a string. Okay, that's what I was worrying about. I was worrying about it being straight. So, it'll tack for 1-2 minutes, depending on the thickness. Let me see. Let's sit for at least an hour. Okay, so once we get this all cured, we're gonna give it an hour. We're gonna take this piece and use it as a template, cut it in, cut it out, and then shape the outside here to make it work right with the new cover. So now It's just a matter of letting it sit. Okay, now this seems like it's a lot, but it's not a lot of work. I mean, I took a really good sharp knife and I cut the pieces off and got what I needed off of bits and pieces. All right, but this is how you can do things like this for little to no money. Okay, I mean, I paid for the seat cover, but to reuse old cushions is something that you can do. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not ever going to be seen. Okay, and it'll be just as good and just as comfortable as spending the big bucks for new cushions, which I don't think is necessary. But she feels pretty good. It's really, yep, it's not too bad. So, all right, go let that cure, and we'll do something else for a while. Give it an hour. Okay, now while we're here, I basically put this up to where it was cut at, right? And use this kind of as my eyeball for cutting around. So this is kind of my thing here. And then this is the part, this cutout right here is the part that I have to play with on the backside. So not a bad thing to put a couple marks on it to tell you exactly where you need to cut it and move it down. But well, basically, I'll do some slicage once this dries, and we'll work with it. It'd be nice if I had another end like that. I could just flip it over and trace it really close. But this is actually not too awful bad off for the lines on it. So, but we won't go by that. We'll just we'll work it close and then play with it as it goes. And that's kind of what it looks like without the pad on it, like I said. And then this is a rough cut to slice this section off to get pretty close to the size. See, and I kind of like this because this is where my ass is going to be, which is fine. It's a nice new cushion, thick, not broke down, not like that. There's a lot of people out there that would put a bunch of stuff in there and just kind of make it look good and cover it. But I ain't doing that. I'm gonna make this right because this is where my butt's sitting. Okay. And that's what she looks like. And I just used, it's an old school thing. All I used to cut that with was an old hacksaw blade with a piece of tape on it. All right. So, like I said, I went wide to give myself plenty of room to play with. And we're still curing. So I still got like half an hour to go. But that's what we did with that. We're just going to start working it slowly here and there. We'll flip it over. Once it cures, we'll put the frame on it from that side and find out exactly where we need to cut. And then, okay, it's been an hour. If I did my job right, it should flip up over on itself. And it did, and it does. All right. Okay. It looks like I need to spray it a little bit more down this crack. Okay, just to make it better. So, but this is the kind of stuff that you find. It's got a little bit of a gap in it right here. So we'll spray some more. We'll pull it open. We'll spray some more in there. And we'll stick some up to make it do that. And we'll get that. And we'll have to let it cure for another hour. All right. There we go. She is officially stuck together. Okay, so now we'll take the frame and put it on top of this. All right. Okay. All right. Now see how the seat frame, everything tucks in right here like this. Springs. Everything goes in their little pockets. All right. And this is where the hog rings go in for the fabric. All right. So this is where we're sitting on this. Okay. Pretty daggum close. All right. So I think we did pretty good here. So we need our marker again, because we need to cut to make it look like this side. So this edge is along with the spring ends, okay? So that means that the edge here has to be along the spring edge. So we'll just go down here and we'll draw us a line straight down with there, and then we'll cut us a cutout from this side. Okay, so if we make it look exactly like this side, this is the passenger side, so the cut is on the edge of this spring. So we're going to go here. I'm trying to stay even here. I know it doesn't look like it, but see, we're trying to go here and then right below it, right about right there. All right, that should be just about our line. Okay, so this is basically where we're cutting. We're cutting the line here. We're cutting across to here, across down at an angle. We're going to zip this out here down to this line, because that's exactly what happens on this side. It's 3 inches here, 2.5 inches there. It comes down to this line, right? It comes across, and then it comes up at an angle. Okay, so I'm trying just to basically make it look like this on that side. So if I did everything right, I'm going to basically cut here, down across, in, and then I'm going to loft it, and then come across here, and then come across here, and then finish the cut here, because I want to leave as much of this as possible. So let's see if we can get this done. All right, and this one I'm not doing with the hacksaw. This one I'm doing with the sharpest knife in the house. It's a brand new knife, and if you tell my wife, I'm gonna lie. All right, I'm gonna lie. All right, so we're just gonna work down this line right here, and I just want to make sure that I'm going. See where it is? See where the line is? Just to make sure I'm sticking my thumb in there to make sure I don't go farther than I need to. Okay, so that's my cutoff right there, and I'm just gonna work this line. As you can see, I'm just working down the line. I'm going to work across, come over to this edge, come in here, and then I'm going to cut down. But like I said, if you tell the wife on me, I'm going to lie, and don't say nothing on the Thursday Night Lives. And don't forget, Thursday Night Lives are coming up. And I'm just making sure that I don't go past certain points so I don't cut into the main piece here. All right, then I'm going to come around, but trim this here. All right, now comes the fun part, the final part of the plan here. Let me see where I'm still stuck here. Getting close. One big chunk. It's like carving a turkey. Literally. All right. That one's loose. Looky here. Looky there. One piece. All right. All right. Now comes the test. Is it going to fit on the frame? All right. So let's go get the frame and see what it looks like. Looky there. All right. Now remember how the other side was like even with the springs? And we are even with the springs. We are sitting flat. Glue's holding up. Even with the springs, just like on this side. Okay, so now we got to make that side look like this side. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to flip this thing over so we can get a better view, because I want to know what I got to do to trim this up to make it right. All right. Okay, so I need to make this side look like this side, which it already kind of does. Okay, so I need to, I'm just eyeballing here. I'm just looking at what I'm looking at here. So I need to actually shave this down a little bit, clean this up a little bit. I don't want to trim too much. All right. Now here's another way to reference it. I'm just kind of throwing it up here, the old piece. So I know you need to trim a little bit off here, but basically she's not that far off. I need to trim this up a little bit so it tucks in nice. As you can tell, it's a little bit square. But the honest truth is that if it'll fit inside the cover, I ain't got to do much trimming here. So I wish I had one of these on this side, a good one off of the old pieces, to flip it over and just be able to lay it edge to edge instead of having to like guesstimate like this. I mean, this kind of hard to do, but the honest truth, this is straight up and down. She's actually, okay, so let's get it draped over here like this. Let's bring her over on this side like this. Bring her around like this. Kind of, sort of. All right. Yep, it's going to take a lot of oomph to get this around, but I think we're good. So, all right, I don't want to get this dirty, so what we're going to do is I'm going to move this, and I'm going to put a moving blanket down so that I don't get this all dirty doing this. But I already like it. I like the idea of the gray with the silk with the black. So, let's get all this stuff moved, and I'll get my deal down, and we'll get this thing on. Okay, first thing is I put a couple of hog rings in, just 5, just across the bottom here in the front, just to keep that in place so that I can pull from the bottom side to get it around, to get it up onto here. So I can put hog rings here, hog rings. There's slots in all the frames where they go. There's a nice beaded piece with the wire in it for you to put it in. So just work it from the front around and bring it around from underneath. Don't be afraid. Get your hands up in there and push on that foam to get this thing brung around to where it wants to go. But it's going to be a little bit of work. Matter of fact, it's going to be a lot of work to get it around. See, she just a matter of doing a little here and a little there and getting it where you want it. Good in there. Like I said, it's just working a little bit at a time. Just getting a little bit of time. I'll tell you straight up, it's a lot of work. It's hard to do, but we're going to get her did. Okay, so where we're at is that I've got a couple of hog rings in here just to hold it in place, and I messed up, okay? This is actually a seat cover for 81 through 87, right? And 81 through 87, some of them, they have this little metal plate that runs down the end of this, which is what this J channel hooks onto on the back. It doesn't come all the way around in hog rings on here. So still can use this. Still going to be able to use this, but I'm going to have to drill some holes in this J hook and basically just use zip ties to hold it in place here. Not tight, but just hold it in place. And if I do enough of them, I can just drill a small hole in the plastic and run a zip tie through, and that should fix this problem. Okay. Again, working problems that I didn't realize I messed up. I like the looks of this design, so that's what I bought. And it ended up being the wrong gear for the frame that I have. Another frame I have is a 73 through 80 also, which doesn't have the ridge on it. Or I would just take this one out, bring that one in, and use this cover on that frame. Or I could, if I wanted to, I could weld a little lip, a little piece, a little, 1/4-inch piece on there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to drill through this because this is good and hardy, and I'm not going to use it as a tightener. I'm just going to use it as a holder. So that's what we're going to do with this. But basically, she's on, and I've just got 3 hog rings in right now just to hold it in place while I'm playing with it. So we'll get that done. We'll get this done, and then we'll finish up the ends. Okay, and this is how it should look when you start. All kind of loose, all right? They're just holding in place, and I just drilled a little 1/4-inch hole in each one of these so I can zip tie, because it's actually supposed to fit like this. There should be, on the newer frames, there's a flat bar that hooks to. It's just a little J channel. So we're going to replicate that by doing this, right? So front is tight, so we're going to go each one of these a little at a time, and we're just going to cinch it up just like that. And that's all we're going to do, and we're going to leave it. And we're going to do all of them that way. It's just going to help pull everything in, just like this. Bring it around just a little at a time, and we're not putting a steroid jerk on this. We're just using it for tension to get this piece up, and I need to pull on this to get this one where I want it to go. All right, just a second. See now how it's nice and even spaced shear, even spaced shear. They're all lined up and they're all pulled tight, and all we got to do is snip everything. And these are not super uber tight. These are just to hold it in place. See, they got a little bit of play because I tightened them up as I went across. Now, I didn't put one here because it was broke when it came out of the package. See, it's broke. And I didn't think putting a hole there, I didn't think it would hold. So I didn't bother putting one here, which isn't really going to hurt nothing. But just go back through, double check, make sure they're tight, because they're going to have loosened off a little bit because it's going to pull on itself. Oh, another thing, the heads need to be up against this plastic when you start, because they're going to, pull in. So I think we're good. We're going to snip some deals. We're going to flip it back. We're going to work on the corners. All right. And the corners are pretty easy. We're going to got a bowl hole here. That's easy to find. You can just punch through from the back side with an awl. This one is going to be, we're just going to have to feel for it, because you can actually feel it through the fabric, and then punch a hole with an awl. But let's put some more hog rings in and snip some plastic. Okay, and if you guys have ever used hog rings and you know how to do this, but
They basically come in a strip, and they can bring you 2 strips, which is a basically overkill for this. They come with these. They look chintzy, they look cheap, but they actually work. Okay, so you basically just take one off the strip, you put it in the pliers. They got little grooves that these go into, just like this, right? Holds it in place, and like I said, it looks just cheap and chintzy as they come, but it works. So you find where your slot is. Find where your slot is, and you want to make sure and grab that wire, okay? And then you just all ring in place. Now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a regular pair of lineman pliers and give them a good squish in the end. But that's all there is to this. And you can do one, if you wanted to, you could fold it over and do one here, and you come around the corner and there's one here, and then there's more here that we got to stretch it to. But other than that, it's just a matter of getting them in. Now, just for fun, we'll flip this over. Take a look at what she looks like. Oh, yeah. She's tied up. Yes. That's awesome. Seeing these, okay. And I don't know if you noticed, but they're not cut for the seat belts to come out. I'm not doing that. I'll just pull them from inside, from in the groove here. I'll just leave them on there. But oh yeah, oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Okay, I need my new. It ain't gotta be pretty, it just gotta be done. Another thing I want to talk about was this. You can tuck this in wherever you want to tuck it in at to get it out of your way. But you're just working, like I said, you're just working this stuff around the corners. All right. There we go. Okay. There's the top side. All right. And like I said, I bought the wrong year for the frame I had, but I made it work. Okay. And she's all ringed in, and she looks a little wonky on the corners right now, but give her a month sitting in the truck in the hot sun in 90+ degree weather with 100% humidity for a month, and she's gonna flow right out. Sit on a couple times. It's gonna move. It's gonna adjust. It's gonna shrink where it needs to shrink, and it will stretch where it needs to stretch, and it's gonna be beautiful. But I mean, look this thing. Oh, look at that! Love it. Matter of fact, this bottom is going outside in the sun to start the process. So let this thing start stretching. All right, and this is the top, and the top is molded to the frame itself, which this frame has been cleaned and painted. All right, and it basically just slips on top like you pull on a t-shirt, and they can be a little problematic. So I think we're going to sit this one out in the sun for a little bit, get it warmed up, and then we'll basically work it on. It can be a pain, but again, this is nothing as hard as the bottom one. The bottom one is the bear. This is the easier one. It's just kind of like warm it up in the sun, slide it on, hog ring it together, and you're good to go. See, see, it has the embedded wire here. It has the embedded wire here for the hog rings and they'll go on the back side so they don't show. This will tuck underneath in the front and make it look really nice. So let's see what we got to do here.
All right. All right. Basically, what it looks like is we're going to have to do a little here and a little there and just work it down the cushion, one side to the other, and just slide it down the cushion because she's going to be a little tight, and just do a little bit of time and just go back and forth. Because it's a pretty tight fit, you just do a little bit of time and just work it down and just keep. See, that doesn't actually, that's not actually too bad. Oops. I'm actually going to have to cut a slit in this for this. Yep. Yeah. I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to do it. I got to cut a slit for the handles. Slip it in. There we go. Just like that. All right. Corners are a pain in the butt. Again, she's not 100% perfect, but give her a month in the sun and she'll be good to go. And then it's just a matter of augering all these together, getting all this to work. Over time, it'll get there. Okay, and this is basically just what I'm doing with it. I'm just augering it as I go. Now, if I find a gap, once I get this all done, if I find a gap, I'll put an extra one in just to make it strong. And I'm going about on the pleats, about every 1.5. See? Every 1.5. So if I end up with some, and then I'm going to put this one out in the sun too and let it get warm and let it shift around and move around. And then if I end up with more gaps, I'll just come back through and I'll just close them up as I go. But I just say 1.5. I'll put the next one here, and then one here, here, here. You know, I want to put a lot in here because so this lays flat. It looks good. Right. Now I want to show you something. Now these hog ring pliers, when they bring them, they're tight, so you can actually put it in there and set it down on the table, or set it, and they don't come out. Okay, makes it real simple, real easy. All right. Then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it. It's working its way across. I'm just going to take the two pieces like this and just get them close. And then it's just a matter of catching both the water. And sometimes you miss and you bend them. You know, you can unbend them if you want to, but I have extras. They send a ton of them. There's 2 strips on them, and for the bottom and for this one, I've only used 1 strip. Okay. So we're going to move this around, get this where it needs to go. Hold on a little bit, close up the gap like that. I don't know if you can see, but you grab underneath both wires and you push, but then you push it flat, just like that. Okay, that's the key, because that'll keep it from rubbing real bad on the top side of the back seat. Okay. So, and all you gotta do is just push with your finger and it'll push over, okay? Again, you just put the wire in, and it'll hold itself in place. All right. And then you just come over here. You get it where you want it. And I'm going to put it right here where this piece is. Nice and close. See if we can get this pooch up. There it is. Boom. Push. Pink. Flat. All done. Okay, she's been out in the sun for about a couple hours. She's already starting to shrink up a little bit, move around a little bit, loosen up here, loosen up there. Okay, so now the next thing is we got to put hardware in. That hardware. Okay, so that's the lock. And those are the pivot points for the back. So this is the driver's side. So I'm gonna put the lock on the driver's side because I only have one of those. I should have two, but I can't find it, and I ain't gonna order right now. So I can go ahead and live with one right now while I'm doing this. So what I did was there's a nut here and a nut down in here, and the one down here and here is for the lock block, the little funny looking one, and this is for the bolt for the actual the back seat. Okay, so all I did was I used this, and I come through. There's my hole there. There's my hole there, and all I got to do is just open that up a little bit with the razor so I can get my bolts in. This one with the handle is going to be driver's side. And then I'll show you a very special thing that you cannot live without when it comes to this hardware. Okay, hardware is in with a return spring. The big piece is this piece of wire right here. This thing has to be in place, or else that doesn't make that work. Okay. We have to put the back of the seat on. So let's flip this thing over and get that started. Okay, and so here's our hole, and I can feel the nut inside there. So this is the passenger side, so I'm just going to be very, very careful with this. I'm just doing just enough to get myself my space to get that nut in. Okay, all I want to do, just get enough. Even if I get little threads in there, just to get it in place so I can get that nut started in there, okay? So, just like this. Just find out where your center is, just like that. Get your little indentions, and you can kind of just scooch around inside the nut, all right? If you wanted to, you could do this. Nope. Pull it out. Just do this, and since if you got a sharp razor, you can be really careful. And yes, I'm bleeding. I would bleed on everything. Good job. It ain't a good job unless you bleed on it. We've been saying that. Us guys building engines and stuff back in the day, if it ain't got a little blood on it, it just ain't gonna run right unless you bleed on a little bit. All right, and that's what the ending result looks like. Nice. Okay. Now she's not perfect. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Now it took me all day, and it took me dirty. It took me all day, but it fought me. It fought me a lot, and this is a job. This is a big job, but it's well worth it. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Hit that bell. Don't forget Thursday night lives. Every Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central. I try to do a live Q&A, question and answers. We have a lot of fun. And Yep. Yep. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yep. And she's comfy. She's very, very comfy. It's gold, and she sits beautiful. It fits perfect. And it's really, 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 just looking at it against the black, it's going to be black, the interior pieces, just against the gray, against the black with a black carpet. Yeah. Christina, Christina hit a home run. The gray was her idea, and it really shines. It really does. It's a nice kit. Now, I'm warning you that I bought an 81 through 87 bench seat. Okay. The frame that I used was a 73 to 81. There was a little bit of fabrication, you know, as you saw, that had to be done. But I like the style. I like the way it looks. So yeah. That was a lot of work though. It was a lot of work. You're going to spend a couple of days doing it. And if you don't use the right frame, you're going to be cussing and having to do a little bit of fabrication. But all in all, it worked great. Yeah. Y'all have a great day. Because great day today could be new seat in the morning after a couple of mornings. Y'all be good.